Imagine gas stations are only exclusive to one brand. Another shocking rumor. They just stopped it. They paused it. They paused battery swap station deployment, and it was all done intentionally. There's a real good purpose behind all this. And you probably noticed, how come battery swap stations aren't really being deployed more? Well, partially, yes, they're trying to save money, but NIO CEO has revealed the true plan going forward. And in a recent interview, he said that it is mainly because of 5th gen swap stations. Of course, 5th gen swap stations are coming very soon, but he said that more specifically, every single 4th gen swap station that they deploy right now is one less 5th gen swap station. And right now, the current swap stations do not support Firefly cars. So you really want to put the capacity and money into deploying 5th gen swap stations that can support Firefly swap. Now, this has created a lot of internet debate here in China about, oh my God, there's going to be a new battery variant in the battery ecosystem. And you have so many different battery variants that's going to result in less batteries for each specific variant. And NIO has really tackled this problem head on as well. And it's brilliant. Right now, every single NIO being delivered, I'm talking about NT 2.5 and NT 2.0 cars, are shipping with the 100 kilowatt hour battery pack standard. You simply cannot choose the 75 kilowatt hour battery pack anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. You can't choose it. Of course, swap stations will still have it, but what NIO has cleverly done is that in the future, in order to alleviate so many different battery types in the swap station, they're going to just be mainly using 100 kilowatt hour battery packs that are the 400 volt ones, and then they'll be like digitally locked to 75. And that way, you actually have, that you don't have that problem. And I actually encountered this situation just a few days ago when I went for a battery swap, and I saw the range. Like, how come it's 100% charged? Like, normally batteries they're never 100% charged, right? They're always like 92% charged in order to preserve the battery health. And I had like 440 kilometers of range on my NIO EC6 after a fresh battery swap. That never happens. It's always 299, or maybe 400 if you get the 75 kilowatt hour battery pack instead of the 70 kilowatt hour battery pack. But what happened was I actually got a digitally locked 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. And because it's digitally locked, they're able to give me the full capacity of 75 kilowatt hours. And on my NIO, it would show that it's 99% fully charged. And that was pretty shocking. So they're already doing that to alleviate that kind of the demand problem. But the battery swap stations, they're going to have like so many of these as soon as 5th gen swap stations launch. And they've already like started doing testing, internal testing. And very soon, next month, they're going to have an external swap station doing tests. And then next year, early next year, they're going to have these 5th gen swap stations launch all over the place. And they're going to be deploying those like crazy. And of course, that is going to be one of the big selling factors for Firefly, because right now, here in China, you guys probably might not know this, but I'm reporting to you on this. This is very important. JD.com launched their own EV, okay? And of course, JD.com, if you guys didn't know, it's like the Amazon of China. They are basically like, they're also an early investor in NIO, okay? And their EV isn't exactly like built by themselves. It's built by GAC, but their EV is very cheap, cheaper than a Firefly car, and also supports battery swap 99-second with the CATL chocolate battery swap system. And you can also buy the car with BAS, rent the battery, instead of buying the battery pack. And a lot of people here in China have been saying this is going to kill the Firefly car, which I absolutely don't believe will be the case, because we talked about this. There's physical limitations with that 99-second battery swap. That swap station that CATL has is air-cooled, whilst NIO's batteries are all liquid-cooled and free-flowing cooling liquid. Basically, the liquid is regulated inside the batteries, offering superior safety and ease of mind. So, of course, you can expect Firefly cars to be much safer than the JD.com cars. But what you can tell is that there is that demand for these small cars with battery swap. And then in that essence, NIO really needs to offer battery swap for Firefly cars. And if you look at it from the bright side, once that happens, once Firefly cars can also do battery swap, that's going to really open up the floodgates to even more demand. Okay. And then there's also another shocking rumor. And that's the fact that there's actually going to be an even bigger capacity battery for the Firefly car. And because of its battery swap, you can, of course, swap it on whenever you want. If you want to go on a road trip, you can swap that on. So they're offering at least 2 different battery capacities for each category of car. And by doing that, you can have the extended range when you need it. And then when you don't need it, you can just, use your normal battery in the city. And then, of course, if there's too many battery varieties, they can just use the high capacity battery and lock it down to the lower capacity. So they've got this all figured out, guys. Man, they've got it all figured out. And right now, it's all about, just waiting until 5th gen swap station is fully ready, and then they're going to just deploy these like crazy, all right? And of course, 5th gen swap stations will support all vehicles, not just NIO, Envo, also Firefly cars. And people have been asking, why don't NIO take apart some of the older swap stations, 1st gen swap stations, 2nd gen swap stations that don't support Envo, that don't support the new ES8? There's so many of these swap stations that the new ES8 and new ET9 cannot swap at. Envo cars cannot swap at. Why don't they take it apart? Well, why would you take it apart? Like that would you're wasting money by doing that, right? It costs money to take it apart as well. Instead of taking it apart and then building a newer swap station, a 5th gen or 4th gen swap station on top of that, why don't you just build a 4th gen swap station nearby, right? So that's really the approach that NIO is taking. Of course, it does mean that in 2026, there's going to be a lot of infrastructure spending to deploy out 5th gen swap stations. And this is necessary because going into the future, all cars going into the future that NIO sells, NT 3.0 on the 3.0 platform cars, will only be able to swap on 4th gen and 5th gen swap stations. So it's very critical that they get these numbers up. Otherwise, those cars, if they don't have that many swap stations, it's going to be a very awkward situation. You go to a different city, you can't battery swap because they don't have the appropriate generation of swap station to support battery swap. So that's why they're pausing it. Which is really nice. And of course, next year we can expect even higher sales for Firefly car because of 5th gen swap stations. That will really help boost those numbers up. And of course, even more swap stations. Yeah, that's going to be insane. NIO is going to be sort of like the default car that you must buy. Imagine gas stations are only exclusive to one brand. How crazy is that? And that's the situation that we're looking at, all right, in the future. Absolutely insane. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.